Hello, 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 everyone. This is Gail Turner Brown. This is another episode of the Monetize You Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so appreciate you guys being here. I cannot believe this is like episode 15. So we have done 15 episodes and we are stoked. So once again, my name is Gail Turner Brown. I'm a broadcast entrepreneur and the co-host of the Monetize You Show. This is the place to be if you want to learn how to monetize your skills, your talents, and your expertise. We help you take those and turn them into cold, hard cash. And we have a phenomenal show for you today. But before we get started, as usual, I normally give two housekeeping notes. Number one, grab your pens, grab your papers, grab your recording devices or whatever you are going to use to make sure that you take notes because you are not going to want to miss not any of the info that we're going to put down for you today. Second, I would love to introduce to you my partner in success, Mr. Best-selling author R.L. Chance. Take it away, Mr. Chance.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Gail, for the intro again. I know for the past two shows I've been out, and so that's because I was in West Africa. I had a wonderful time in Ghana, and I'll share a little bit about that maybe at the end of the show. But anyhow, welcome to the Monetize You Show. As usual, we bring you all of the experts who share their knowledge, their wisdom with you on how you can take your skills and monetize them. So this afternoon, a couple of things. We are reaching several milestones. So I want you guys to make sure, share this right now on Facebook, Twitter, wherever have you. Make sure you share it, right? We want to increase our likes and make sure you comment today as well on the show because it benefits you. When we grow, you grow as well. All right. So Gail, today I know we have a fabulous show, right? Everybody knows we are here together. You and I, we are authors, we are speakers, we are coaches, but that's not the important thing. What we make sure is that whoever we bring on this show, their knowledge and expertise helps you to become better, helps you to bring out your creativity, helps you to monetize those gifts and talents. So I want you, Gail, to introduce today our fabulous guest, our fabulous expert today to the Monetize You Show.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I do that, I just want to make sure that I let you guys know we got something special going on today. As Chance mentioned, we're hitting a milestone, and because of that, we're going to bring on a little special spice. So, as he mentioned, we need to make sure you guys share this, like it, and comment because we've got some special giveaways for you today. So make sure that you do that because you will get it if you like, share, and comment. So I just want to make sure that you knew that. Now, I have the special honor and privilege to introduce to you Ms. Lisa Robin Young. Ms. Lisa Robin Young is going to bring it on today. If you have creative talents, if you're in music, you're in art, you're dance, what have you, there are oftentimes people you can't figure out, like, what do I do with this? This is fun. I love it. This is my life, all of that, but I got to make some money. And so she is going to share with you how to take your God-given talents and turn them into some money, okay? And into some earthly cash. That's how we gonna roll today. So with that, this is Ms. Lisa Robin Young from ARC Entertainment Media. Welcome, Ms. Lisa Robin Young. Thank you for coming and sharing today.
Ooh, I'm so excited. It's like, I'm all filled up now. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, more. No, wait, we got to teach stuff. So yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well,
awesome.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna start it off, and I'm trying to get as many questions in with you in the short time that we have that we can. So usually, first and foremost, I always start out with number one. How did you make a determination to get into this particular space?
Yeah, that was completely by accident. Actually, it's an evolutionary cycle. And for a lot of creative entrepreneurs, that's kind of what happens. We don't typically start doing the thing that we love because we want to make money at it. We have a skill set that we're good at. We like doing it. We want to do more of it. And well, the bill's got to get paid. So maybe we could turn this into a money-making thing and then kill two birds with one stone. That's typically how it works for most creatives. My backstory is I was a performer when I was a kid. I was a singer. I was an actress. I was played musical instruments, basically anything I could do on the creative, artsy-fartsy side of the world. That's where I wanted to be. And when I got into college, it became very clear that if I had to wait for a gatekeeper to discover me and give me a record contract, I was never going to amount to anything because I don't fit the typical mold. I am not stick skinny. I am not uber beautiful supermodel. Like, I don't have any of that going in my benefit. So if that's what they're looking for and that's what I don't have, I have to find my own way in the world. So I started studying business and I started studying marketing and advertising and ended up with a degree in music theory and music history with a minor in vocal performance and a concentration in all things business. And so when I left school, my first job was actually as a financial advisor, helping other people deal with their money stuff. And I never honestly thought that I was going to find a way to bridge the gap and do all of the things that I love as a growth consultant for creatives and still be able to do the writing and the performing. And it's been a journey that, I had to really get clear on what's really important to me. What am I willing to let go of so that I can focus on what's really important to me and still feel fulfilled? Is it really important that I'm making 10 figures and I'm on the cover of everybody's magazine and I'm driving the fancy car? Or do I want to have a more modest income and be able to have free time to spend with my family? And what does success really look like for me? And then when I got clear on that, it was just a matter of, okay, what do I need to do to make that happen? Let's go do it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And Lisa, though, those questions are very deep and important questions. How did you make the time to be able to come up with that? Did you go on a safari? Did you take a weekend, a week off? Because really sometimes it's difficult for people to slow down and ask those questions because you're right. To go into the business, we need some clarity first. But how did you make the time, or how did it come to you? Did you get an epiphany, a dream, or what?
Sure. Yeah. For me, the big aha was when I almost died. And I don't recommend that people take it to that extreme. I was driving down the freeway. I was going to change lanes and the car just started to spin out of control. Like the road wasn't wet, no understanding of what was causing this car to spin. And I spun across 3 or 4 lanes of traffic. Nobody hit me. I didn't hit anybody. The car was fine. I was completely freaked out, got out of the car, walked around. Car seems to be okay. Hopped back into my vehicle and headed off to my appointment, which ironically, I was headed to my therapist. And so I said, I think I was supposed to be dead. I really think I was supposed to die there. And she says to me, so what does this mean for you? And I'm like, well, if this is really my fresh start, if this is really my opportunity to begin again, what do I really want to be doing? Where do I really want to go with myself? And this was 2013. And I had gotten really clear that I had been neglecting music. I had been doing everything but music for a very long time. And I was going to get back into doing music. I was going to record again. I was going to perform again. Like that was what I was going to do. And it was like, okay, but that is not my business model. How do I pay the bills? And so I was really forced into having to do this and really make these decisions kind of on the fly. When I am fortunate enough to work with the wonderful clients that I work with, I encourage them, no, you've got to take the time. I know it seems hard, but there are 2 things that every successful entrepreneur has to do or you can't be successful. One is make a plan, which is rooted in clarity, right? And number 2 is follow through on that plan. Because you can make plans all day, and if you don't do the work, you're not going to get the results. You're just going to have this lovely set. This is my plan. This is my plan for all of 2018 right here, right? I can make it, but then if I don't follow through on it, it doesn't mean anything. And for most people, that's going to take more than an hour's sitting, with their crystals or their meditation time or in prayer or devotion or just with a journal and a piece of paper and a pencil, it's going to take more than an hour because you've got to get it out of your head. Then you've got to let it breathe. And then you've got to come back to it and be like, yes, this is still what I want. Most people can't just go, this is what I want, let's go. Some linears can do that. And one of the things I talk about in my work is the creative spectrum, from the very linear to the very chaotic. And then people like me, the fusions, who are in the middle. They do lots of different things. They're good at lots of different things. It's hard to pick one thing. They don't have an easy time of it sometimes. They need that time to really take themselves out of the everyday and do the work of making the plan. And I always say I would rather take a day off from work and sit down and really plan than to be driving down the freeway and have the world take me out of the world for a day and be left, in traction,
right on,
contemplating my plan. I was lucky that I didn't get hurt, but I could have, and there are a lot of people I know who it takes one of those life or death situations to really get them to sit down and talk about, this is what really matters.
Yeah.
We go day to day with so much right in our faces, right here. Like, I've got to deal with all of this right now. And all the stuff that's important is beyond that. But we can't get there because of this. And it's important for us to just pull that away and go, no, I hear all the screaming and the demands and the asks on my time. I hear it. And this has to be done because this is what really matters. This is my future. This is my real life. As an artist, as a human being on this planet, that's where I've got to put my attention. I've got to invest myself there, or I'm going to stay here forever. And that's just not healthy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. What you're saying there is just life in general, especially in our busy 21st century, Western, especially, lifestyle. Everybody's so caught up, and that's why we are unhappy in many levels. But I do like the fact, if we can see the future and know where we want to go, it's best to take the time. But you know what? You're right. Sometimes it does take those moments, but we would rather not have to come to that point. But, hey, I think God gives us all the opportunity whenever we can. If we're going to do it the easy way, fine. If not, hey, you know what? Maybe one of those situations will turn it around. So I'm glad that you found your why and you were able to now turn that around into use it to business, which today you're going to tell us now all about how we can do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's next up. That's next up. What happens when if you are an artist of whatever type, or whatever stripe, whatever form that takes, and how do you go from starving artist to thriving artist?
Yeah. So the first thing is you have to stop calling yourself a starving artist. You're either an artist or you're not.
Yes.
Starving has nothing to do.
That's right.
Starving is a socioeconomic condition that is not tied to your vocation. Okay? Because you can be a starving librarian. Starving street sweeper. You can be a starving plumber, right?
Yes, that's right. That's true.
So the first thing you have to do is you've got to stop seeing yourself as starving. Maybe you're not bringing in the revenue you'd like to with the work that you're doing. I get that. But if you continue to see yourself in a starving artist paradigm, you could be making 7 figures and you'll still be a starving artist.
Wow.
Okay?
Bombshell.
Right. Yeah. Boom. Mind blown.
Yes.
The second thing is you have to own the artist part. And this might be dangerous. I might make some people angry here, but I have to tell the story of Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
Most people know Adolf Hitler for all of the bad things and all of the really horrible, awful, that whole story. They know that. What they don't know is this kid had a dream of being an artist. He was a painter. And from what I've seen, a pretty decent painter. He was a very linear guy, so structure and lines and form was very important to him at a time when people were moving more toward impressionistic, postmodern, cubist, surreal, unusual styles of art, right? So here's this very traditional, linear, classical artist. I'm going to go to Vienna, and I am going to go apply to the school in Vienna, and I'm going to be an artist. And so he goes, and now this exam is in 2 parts. Okay. The entrance exam to get into the Vienna schools in 2 parts. One part is your portfolio, what you bring with you. And one part of it is a time test where you have to paint these 2 paintings that are based on designs from the masters, right? So he passes the copying portion, no problem. He's hands down, boom, he's got it, he's good. They're like, yep, that's great. And then he presents his portfolio and they flip through it and they go, there are not enough people in these pictures. There's not enough heads here. You know, maybe you should think about architecture. And he's like, but I want to be an artist. And so he tries again. He applies again, right? He spends 6 years in Vienna and never gets into this school. But he's painting the whole time. The whole time he's painting and he's selling his art and he's eking out an existence as a starving artist. Wow. He had an art dealer who sold his paintings for him. Now, there are a lot of artists today who would be like, I would love to have representation. I would kill to have somebody selling my work for me. And yet, after 6 years, he bagged it and said, I'm going to go join the military and I'm going to serve in the Bavarian army. I'm going to bring my art with me. I'm going to paint in my downtime, but I'm not a painter. I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. He gave up because the gatekeepers didn't pick him. He quit on his dream because the gatekeepers, the people who were in charge, said, well, maybe you should pursue architecture instead, darling. Maybe you should have a fallback plan, sweetheart. And how many artists get told that?
Right.
I was told that you need a plan B. It's great you want to be a rock star, honey, but you know, you should really think about pursuing maybe an education degree. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to teach in a school, and I knew that about me. I didn't have the patience or the tolerance for that. I only want to teach people who want to learn. Right. That's why I do things like this. Because the people who show up here are like, feed me, tell me, inspire, educate, I'm ready, you know? But you walk into a classroom, God only knows who's going to be in that room. They're there because their parents told them they had to. It's compulsory education. You've been downsized from teaching music to teaching English and gym because that's what the budget is in the school district. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
But that was the chosen path for musicians when I was growing up. Well, if you want to be a musician, you need to be a music teacher because then you have something to fall back on. Even if you hate it, at least you have something to fall back on. And I was like, oh no, not me, right? I chose myself first. And I said, well, if I'm going to be a musician and I'm going to be broke, not a starving artist, but a broke musician because I don't have any money and I'm just coming out of college, then what do I need to know? Well, I need to learn how to market my stuff myself because I'm not going to have a manager. I'm going to need to learn how to book my own gigs because I'm not going to have an agent. I'm going to need to learn, you know, how to create a media kit because I'm not going to be able to hire somebody else to do it for me. So I said, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it for me. I have to learn how to do it for myself. And maybe that means hiring somebody if you've got the available funds. But if you don't, then you got to hit the books. Go to the library. I mean, like I spent so much time in the library. I would walk out with, 10 or 12 books, and I'd come back the next week with, another 10 or 12 books. They knew me by name. It was like, that was my cheers. They were like, Norm, like, hey, I got more books this week. And that's how I filled my brain with all the stuff I didn't know so that I didn't have to wait for somebody else. And now I've got 3 albums, a best-selling book, a new one that I'm just getting ready to release. Awesome. All of that's been done independently. I haven't waited for somebody else to do that for me. Yes. And that's what I tell my clients is that if you wait and you keep hoping that someone else is going to pick you and you don't do the work in the meantime that needs to be done, you're going to sit there waiting. It's like waiting for the guy to call you on Saturday night. Like, he ain't calling you. He's calling the girls. They're not calling you. And especially now as the way especially if you're an author, and you know this, Chance. If you're an author, a publishing house wants to see that you already have an audience.
That's true. You're right. Yeah.
And if you don't have that platform, they're like, well, why should we represent you, and why should we invest our money, take a chance on you with your book when, Stephen King sold billions and billions of copies of books and like everybody knows Stephen King. Why don't we spend our money and time and efforts on him, the established author with the established platform? So it's at the point now where you almost need to build your own platform anyways. And once you've done that, what do you need them for?
Exactly.
Like really, what do you need? So.
All right, so we're going to take a break. And because this is good. I'm like, ooh, I wish I had one of those kind of talents for it. So first of all, I just want to kind of once again welcome everybody to the show. If you don't know, this is the Monetize You Show. I am Gail Turner Brown here with my illustrious success partner, Mr. R.L. Chance, and we have brought it today. We are bringing to you Ms. Elisa Robin Young. And she is sharing with us, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are an artist and you have a talent, something that has been given to you by the divine, but you have not quite figured out what to do with it and how to really turn it into some cold hard cash, then that is what she is sharing with you today. And before we head on to our next segment, I also want to share with everybody the number one, make sure you're sharing this out, that you're commenting, and because we've got a special offer at the end for you. So, if you've got a question, if you've got a comment, just put it in the comment box. Also, for those people, hello over there on Periscope land, haven't forgotten about you. Thank you also for being here. We're going through, so a lot of times the things are coming through fast. And if we don't get a chance to acknowledge you, I want to make sure I'm acknowledging you now. So welcome. I really appreciate that. And make sure you stay tuned as well. So I guess next up is, I need to know, as you're developing all of this, what do you do? What do you do first? What do you do next?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's an interesting way to ask that question. I'm presuming what you're really getting at is, okay, so I'm in the process of building this. How do I keep the bills paid?
Yeah, or where do I start? So it sounds like it's like, okay, you assess what your skill is. I'm like, okay, so I am a painter. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm a painter. I am, Ms. Michelangelo.
Sure.
So now what?
Well, it's interesting that you actually picked Michelangelo, because Michelangelo was actually one of the most successful creative entrepreneurs of his era.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Jeff Goins, in his last book, Real Artists Don't Starve, he talks about Michelangelo and how he had a very clear business model. Like, I paint this kind of stuff for these kind of people and they pay me this kind of money. And if they're not those, I don't. So just like any other business, and it's funny that you said you started to say entrepreneur and then you backpedal and said if you're an artist, because here's the thing. Every entrepreneur is a creative, but not every creative is an entrepreneur. And that's a key distinction, okay?
Yes.
Because you can create because you love to create and you love the work that you're doing and you feel like you just got to get it out of you and you don't care about the money. You're not an entrepreneur, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? We need those people who are just inspired to create because they light a fire under the rest of us who are like, okay, I want my art to stand for something. I want my message to resonate in the hearts and minds of these people. I want to incite action, right? As an actress, one of the things that I look for when I'm doing roles is I want a character that's going to get people to think or feel something that's going to make their life better, right? So I don't want to play a villain or a dark character that's going to make people afraid or turn in on themselves. I want stuff that when the show is over, people are like, oh my gosh, you just changed me in such a profound way. I feel so much better having seen the show. Like, that's what I want for people. So those are the kind of roles that I'm looking for, right? Same as a performing artist. I don't sing songs about how somebody left me in the ditch and I'm dead and lonely and everything the world's going to end, right? Because that's not what I sing about. I sing about hope. I sing about second chances. I sing about new life. I sing about fun, Do I sing those other songs? Occasionally as a setup for, and now life's going to get better, right? Because it helps to tell the story. It helps to create that emotional turn. But as an artist, as a creative entrepreneur, okay, whether you're an architect and you're very linear and you're a thought leader, problem solver type, or you're a healer or you're a pet intuitive, or you're a dancer, or you're a Lady Gaga, okay, or anywhere on the spectrum from one side to the other, when it becomes a question of entrepreneurship and turning it into a business, you have to treat it like a business. You have to go, okay, here's the thing I'm creating. who needs this? And you can do that. People like to go, well, you need to find a niche and fill it, right? It works both ways. It really does. You can create the thing and then find the niche. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all these guys on YouTube unboxing action figures, making good money doing it. They just wanted to unbox the action figures and show them to their friends and be like, look, his head moves. It's really cool. And now they're making money because they've created a business model to attract the people who want to watch that. My 10-year-old or 11-year-old being one of them. He sits there and watches those videos all day long, and they've got ad revenue that's paying them to open a box of toys and show it to the world on video. Mm-hmm. That started with, I have a thing, let me find my niche, right? And for most creatives, that's how it works. I'm creating this thing because I can't not do it. I have to do it. So I'm going to share it, but I also have to be aware of who might like this so that I can show it to them and go, what do you think? Get that feedback, reach more people, go, who else do you know that might like this too? You know, you guys start every episode, share it, like it, let people know we're here. That's the creative impetus in action. It's saying, hey, I've made this thing. I'm pretty proud of it. And if you resonate with what we're sharing here, please share it with other people that you think might resonate with it. So you're creating the thing and the niche is coming. Now, I will also confess that you've probably done some planning about, well, we want to target entrepreneurs who want to make some money being themselves. That's why we've called it the Monetize You show, right? But at the same time, until you're actually in the act of creating, you can't possibly know all of the different possibilities of the people who might be interested.
That's what I said.
It's like sticky notes, right? The 3M spray, they were trying to develop a permanent adhesive.
Yes.
It didn't work that way. But then they thought, well, here are all these other things we could do with it. We could do Post-it notes and we could do Post-it calendars. I mean, the Post-it note industry is gigundous. And it was an accident because they screwed up, right? So we have the choice in any given moment to see our things as they only work like this. And if you don't use them like this, then they're worthless. Or we can open it up and let other people take ownership of the possibilities.
Right.
So that's
I
really
think flexibility counts as part of that, because sometimes as creators, we can be like that way, stiff-handed. But you're right. Sometimes you are creating, and you're right. The customer base, target market, whatever you want to call it, they might direct exactly where you go. You're right. You might be saying, you know what? I'm writing this book. Let's take an author. I'm writing this book for business professionals who are, let's say, doctors, for example. But then you realize that all the people that are buying it might be nurses, for example. Similar, but different. And nurses are falling in love all with your stuff. So it's like, okay, I need to refine it. Let me refine, let me retweak it and so forth. So, but also I like what you said, because, Lisa, it helps to free us up too, because I know for me too, because I teach the same thing as far as, know your market first, then create the thing. But you're right. There are some passion projects that I know I have. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even care what people say. I'm just going to create it anyhow. So, but that gives you freedom, because it's like you said, I cannot not see it, come to life. I need it. So those who are listening today, if you're a creative, please, she's giving you the liberty, whether you have it figured out first or not, produce the thing, and then we can find the market or people for it afterwards.
Yeah, and there's a great example that I love to call up when this comes to play. Jim Henson. We all know Jim Henson is the guy who created the Muppets, right? Well, when Jim Henson started, he was a puppet guy, but he did advertising and he did late night, TV, and he did, he used his puppets for selling things. And when he was approached to do children's television workshop with the Muppets, he was like, well, I can't taint that purity of wanting to entertain and educate children by continuing to use them for sales techniques and stuff like that. I'm going to have to do this. And so he was relentless in his focus on, let's make the Muppets and let's serve that niche and let's do that thing. But then he had other ideas of things that he wanted to do, like The Dark Crystal and like Labyrinth. And those movies were not financially as lucrative as all of the Muppet merchandising and all things Muppets, right? So he had to make a conscious decision to say, I'm going to do some things because they pay the bills, and I'm going to do other things because this is what my heart is telling me I need to do. And I have to walk the line. I have to balance. I can't just put all my time and energy into making the things that I love because they don't always pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
But I still want to do them. So I have to put my energy over here too. And it's not like I hate this stuff. I enjoy this a lot. So I will do this with the understanding that this is where the money's at. And this is the stuff that I get to do because I love it, because I'm doing the work that pays the bills.
Awesome. I think that's the perfect balance, Gail. I mean, what you think? I think that right there, you're right. It just says it.
Yeah, this is, and I honestly, I never really thought of it like that. And I meet a lot of people who are in the creative space. I mean, a lot. I mean, and they do all kinds of artistic things. And what happens though is that they get so hung up in their art, because it's their passion, it's their love, it's their, it's their thing, it's what I've been called to do.
Yeah.
But they have not been able to connect. Okay, how do I take what I'm called to do and really turn it into an ongoing revenue? Because I will say one thing. I think it might be a little bit different for musicians. But I used to draw, okay, when I was growing up, and I thought I was going to be an artist. And I literally would hate to part with what I've done, because it's like once it's gone, you cannot duplicate that. You can't really duplicate what you put into it. And so it just becomes like a one-off. But the way that you frame it and how artists should think, is really a different perspective that I had not really thought of before.
Yeah. Well, and there's another piece of this puzzle too that doesn't get a lot of conversation and is actually quite taboo in a lot of circles. And that's the idea of having a day job or a bridge job to take the pressure off of creating. And this is where you have to walk that line, because remember at the beginning when I talked about that whole, you got to have that fallback plan, sweetheart.
Right.
So many times people's plan B becomes their plan A. And that's what happened to me, right? And you end up being pulled away from the thing you were meant to do because you've become fully invested in this day job or this bridge job or whatever. That said, those types of things are important so long as you remember to keep your brain engaged on what you really want to be doing. If you put everything over here and leave that on a shelf somewhere, then no, you just supplanted your passion for this plan B, and your plan B is now your plan A. And Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in her book, Big Magic. She says, I kept my day job. I kept it until they decided they were going to make Eat, Pray, Love into a movie. And by then she'd written 4 books because she had made the commitment to herself that she was never going to put that kind of pressure on her creative work. She was just going to create and do what she needed to do otherwise to keep the bills paid. And a lot of artists go into trauma and stigma and shame around, I got to get a day job. I got to work for the man because I can't do my job, my thing I love. And it's like, you can do both, but you have to be very mindful and attentive to, I'm only going to work here when it's time to work here. One of the inscriptions in my book says, work when it's time to work and play when it's time to play. And when it's time to work, you do your job and you do it to the best of your abilities. And you keep perspective on, this is my sugar daddy and this is the work I really want to be doing. This pays the bills, so I can go do that. So if you're putting all your time here and there's no time for this, that's not a sugar daddy, that's a slave driver. You got to make some changes.
Right. And just to be clear, she's talking, when she says sugar daddy, she's not like, you don't have to go out and get a literal sugar daddy, do you?
Hey, if it works,
that might help too.
I was gonna say, somebody told me I needed a sugar daddy.
You heard it on the Monetize Your Show. Hey, by the way, we wanna give a shout out to James over at Periscope, Dr. Cooper on Facebook. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys being on today's show. Hey, leave us a question, leave us a comment, and share this by all means. You know what I mean? Lisa is dropping some bomb for us today. She's giving us some powerful nuggets, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. So, Gail, if you don't have another question real quick, I have one I want to ask you.
Okay, no, go ahead. Go.
Okay, so Lisa, Okay, when you first of all, let's clarify creatives. Okay, who are some of the people, or I mean, jobs or different passions that you consider to be creatives?
Wow, thank you for asking that question, because that's the one that trips most people up. When I'm talking about creatives, I'm talking about anyone who is creating something for the betterment of other people,
Okay.
which is a very wide swath. Right? Most people hear the word creative, they think artist, painter,
By
sculptor,
default.
dancer, singer. That's the natural default space. And there are a lot of linears in the world who go, I'm not creative. Oh, let's see. Thomas Edison just happened to invent the light bulb, but he's not creative. What? So
You're
that's
right.
when I codified this whole system of like the creative spectrum. So on the very linear side, you have people who are thought leaders, innovators, inventors, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. You know, these guys have created something. They use their intellectual property, right, to create value in the world for an audience. Okay. On the very far other end of the spectrum are your chaotic creatives. These are the people we typically classify as creative, the artsy fartsy types, the healers, the dancers, the singers. Like I say, Warren Buffett, Lady Gaga, and then right in the middle are fusion creatives. Those are like the Eagles. Okay, the Eagles is a super band, right? Made up of all of these really great musicians on their own come together to form this super group of really talented musicians. And the problem that most fusion creatives have is that we are good in a lot of different things, and it's hard to pick just one, which is why I use the Eagles as the example, because they're all great on their own, but they can't all sing lead at the same time. Somebody's got to be lead and everybody else has got to be backup for one song, and then they can switch. And so for fusion creatives to really get a handle on their skill set, they have to recognize, I have 3 or 4 things that I lead with pretty consistently. And right now I'm going to lead with this one, and then I'm going to pull that one back and lead with another one, and then I'm going to pull that back, but they're always working together, right? And that was the thing that I had to discover as I was learning this process and uncovering it for myself. So when I say creative, I'm talking about if it's coming out of your brain, because we're all creators.
Right.
We are, you know, but if you're creating for the purpose of something greater than yourself, then that's the creative that I'm talking to. And if you're a creative entrepreneur, especially, because again, not all creatives are entrepreneurs. I'm talking about the creatives, the people who are making something that's meant to serve something more than just themselves, and they're trying to create a revenue stream from that to pay their bills and live their lives and, you know, leave the day job eventually or what have you.
Yeah. And on this show, we say, you know, yes, we do agree with that, but we do encourage, based on all the technology and all the gatekeepers are also being minimized with technology too. So we say, yeah, everybody may not be an entrepreneur, but everybody should be entrepreneurial because, hey, we all got some bills that we need to be paid. We all got some debt. So even if you're not going to go full swing into business, but let's say you have a creative idea, you can create something, make some money out of it, and hey, that's it. You know what I mean? Like it's temporary. Like you want to go on a vacation, you know? Hey, what can you do to do something entrepreneurially so you can, you know, get some funds, get on the vacation? Hey, you know what? And pretty much that's the end of your thing until you create something else.
That's right.
So, but I think, I mean, Gail, where do you think you fall on that spectrum? I think I'm more in the middle one that you were talking about. Is it the Eagle, the fusion thing?
Fusions, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
I would definitely agree. As I was listening to her, I was literally placing us, and I'm like, okay, yes, Chance is so. I love Chance. Okay, he is very much in the middle. He's definitely creative, but he gets stuff done. So he's not too far one side or the other.
Yeah. That would be a fusion.
On the other.
Because I love learning. I think that's the thing. I like learning, right?
Exactly.
And I'm conceptual too. So when you give me a little idea, I start pondering it. I say, let me go try that. And because I'm just trying it, it's like you can get caught up for a week or two.
And that's true too. And that's what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs as well, because we tend to go down a rabbit hole. You know, you come up with something and you start working toward it. And this is what happens to me. I probably am on the chaotic side. Probably on the chaotic side. But what happens to me is I'll start working on something, and all of a sudden these things, they start coming into my head, and I'm like, "Ooh, what about that? Oh, let's try that." And so, you know, my biggest challenge as a creative is trying to contain myself until I can get it to the end result. You know, before another thing comes to my mind.
Yeah, that is very classic chaotic behavior. Yeah. Because linears are like, they're like a dog with a bone. They're like, that's the thing. They're gonna work on it until it comes. And they stay on it. And they're like, that's the deadline. That's the budget. We're going to hit it. We're going to hit it. We're going to hit it.
That's it.
Whatever it takes. That's a very linear perspective. And fusions waffle back and forth. They're like, well, sometimes I'm really relentless. And other times I'm like, squirrel.
Yeah.
squirrel. Because of the way our brains are wired, and we can make those connections, and we don't have enough bandwidth to get it. Again, a very chaotic thing, but it's something that, because fusions live in the middle, we demonstrate pretty equally the blind spots and the ninja skills of each type. And if you really want to know your type, you can go to the website and take the quiz because it's free, and then you'll know for sure how you fall on the spectrum. But I would guess you're probably right about your type.
Yeah, but I'm going to make sure, because you said it, I'm going to make sure.
I know, right? Okay. And so here is the remedy for all of you chaotic creators. You partner with someone who's a fusion. Okay, you surround yourself, because it really helps contain you. It helps to I don't know, kind of mitigate, kind of helps people kind of rein you in, you know, and say, okay, hold it. Before we go to this, let's get back to this right here. You know, that's a good idea. It's okay. It's a good idea. But let's kind of stay right here for right now till we can get this done, you know, because Chance is definitely, he's a measurer. You know, we got to hit these metrics. We got to make sure we get these milestones, right? We have these goals we've got to get done. And so it definitely does help. It definitely does help.
And you just basically gave away my book. So now I guess I don't need to write it.
Oh,
no. No, but I mean, that's the reality. If you're a chaotic, trying to hook up with a linear is going to drive you crazy.
Mercy.
Because you don't speak the same language. You know, they talk in numbers and budgets and deadlines, and you're talking about, but I want it to look and feel a certain way.
Yes.
You don't even care about the numbers and the budgets and the deadlines, because if it doesn't measure up to your high level of, you know, excellence, who cares what it costs, right? Yeah. But the linears are like, you said we were going to spend $4, not $4.22. We've got to pull back somewhere, you know. And the fusion is that person who kind of bridges the gap and can. So
I got to tell this story. That happened yesterday. Okay. But perfect example. So I have these concepts and ideas of how I want the show to look and feel, right? And so I mentioned to Chance, you know,
Curtis, you listening?
I know, right? So I said, Chance, Curtis is going to do this particular thing, right? And it was an aesthetic. And so Chance says, whatever makes you happy, Gail, go ahead and do it, right? So it was like, I mean, so yes, a Chance, you know, he rarely does. He's like, no. It's like, okay, Gail, fine. If that was what floats your boat, go ahead. It's fine with me. I'm good. Now, I just want to know, how many people can we get to this? Right? And so,
why are you happy?
It's
also need to go too.
Exactly. So it's really great. It really is great. And yes, and since you mentioned it, Chance, that is really interesting, the dynamic, because and we will talk about him a little bit later, but the man behind the curtain that produces the show. So he's the linear, right?
I think so.
He is the one that will say, okay, that's good, but we got to get back down to this right here, okay?
Right.
We got to get this right here together. And so it makes a good unit, because each one is important to have, and because it's like a puzzle. And so you've got to have each puzzle piece in order to make that whole. And any one of us all alone, it won't work as well. Mm-hmm. We can get it done, but it won't work as well as if you have all of those components.
Yeah, it's hard to be sustainable once you've broken through about There's no real hard number, but the baseline number is kind of about $5,000 a month. Once you break through about $5,000 a month, sometimes it's a little bit before that, sometimes it's a little bit after that, but once you kind of hit that zone, it's really hard to continue momentum and growth on your own. Now, there are some people who are like, well, the thing I sell is $100,000. Okay, well, you're the exception, not the rule. But in general, for creatives who are struggling with confidence issues to even get their pricing to that point in the first place, once they hit that spot, there's so much in terms of systems and processes that have to happen to keep things running that you just can't do it alone anymore. And for a chaotic to bring on a linear at that point is going to probably bring them to tears.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is good. That's really good. So as we're gonna kind of wind this segment up. So I heard you say this is what's in the book, and this was what's on the website. So give us some more so we can know exactly how to structure this, how to send people to you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Together.
Well, actually, there's a couple things. I mean, obviously, you can go to the website. That's lisarobinyoung.com. And the quiz is it's right on the homepage. Take the quiz, discover your type. It's right there, right? The book that I'm putting together is called Creative Freedom: How to Own Your Dreams Without Selling Your Soul. It's a guide to personal and financial success as a creative entrepreneur. That's not due out until November. Yep, see, there it is, right there on the homepage, right there. Discover your type. Just click the button. You take the quiz. And so the book's coming out in November. We're actually in pre-launch right now, and I am doing a live workshop that's going to step people through this whole process of building their own growth plan free. And I'm going to be doing it on Facebook at the end of this month. And so, I held up my plan. Seriously, this is exactly all these pages. This is everything that I'm going to take you through. I don't know. There's 30 pages here. It's everything that I'm going to take you through over 3 days at the end of this month, live on Facebook. It's free. If you want to get the email updates so that you don't have to, try and find me on Facebook, you can go to lisarobinyoung.com/breakout, because we're calling it your breakout year. This is the year that you're going to break out of all of that stuff that's been holding you back. And you're going to build a growth plan that's based on who you are and how you best show up in the world so that you're working on something that really matters to you. That's what helps keep the momentum going on the day-to-day. And that's what helps you generate revenue, because then your right people show up and go, oh my God, I want more of what you have. How do I get on your bandwagon? That's how you do it.
Interestingly here, just before we close out here too, though, I have a comment from Carlos. Carlos is on Facebook, but he was agreeing with what you were just saying with these, he says, I'm a painter, I'm a live streamer, I'm a sketch artist, I'm an art director, I'm a concept artist, entrepreneur, designer, tech evangelist, inventor. So all of these things are going on. And Sheila likewise is saying, yeah, the idea is what happened is as a creator, and I know Sheila actually, she's into health and she have actually produced products and so forth and does some coaching. But she said it's the ideas are always coming. And that's for me too, especially at night, which sucks because you need your rest. But sometimes I get the idea at 2 a.m. and it's you just can't sleep. You can't go back to sleep. I got to get up and work on it or do something with it, So, so thank you, Carlos and Sheila, for your comments there. I want to jump one more in there before you go, though. I need to know now, once a creative kind of have figured out, okay, I got something I can share, I can produce something, how do they come up with the business, maybe the model? Because technology today, people can blog, they can do all of these things. Maybe how did you pick a vehicle to pretty much establish yourself as a business?
I'm a very selfish entrepreneur. And this is how I teach my clients, because truthfully, most of the people I'm working with are not building multinational conglomerates. Okay. If that's your jam, we probably won't jive, because I take a very individualized approach. I call it 360-degree consulting, because I look at the entrepreneur themselves. How are you wired? What is do you do your best work in the morning, or do you need to sleep all day and get up at 2 p.m? If that's your reality, then let's build your business around your reality. Well, I got kids at school from 8 to 4. That's my zone of genius time to work, even if it's not my best time. Fine, then let's build your business that way. I've got a day job. Okay, well then let's work around that. In fact, I have a client right now. She has a day job. She has 5 hours a week to devote to building her business. And I'm like, all right, well, then we got to make the most of those 5 hours and realize it's going to take you longer than somebody who's got 40 hours a week to put in. You just have to own that as true and build your business around that. And so then we look at, what are the platforms where you show up best? Is it blogging? Is it video? Is it Facebook? Is it something else? Like, let's find, is it in person? If in person is where you do your best work, then let's find ways to get you in front of more people. If you're like, I don't even want to leave the house, okay. So are we going to blog, or are we going to do video, or are we going to do Facebook? Like, what is the platform? And sometimes it's just a matter of testing. You know, I'll have a client just post regularly on one platform for 30 days just to see how it feels for them, 2, what kind of results they're getting in terms of engagement and response, and 3, you know, look at the metrics at the end. Like, did we produce any revenue, or was this just a test for engagement? Did we meet the numbers we were trying to get? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, great. Do we want to do more? Yes, no. And we work with the model until we find what works for them. And so I hear a lot of people who go, you know, things that were working, you know, things aren't working like they used to. And yeah, that's kind of true, but that's because you're looking at tactics versus strategy. Strategy is, here's my message. These are the kinds of people I want to reach with that message. Now let's go find them and reach them. Tactic is, we're going to do it all with Facebook ads, or we're going to do it all on Periscope, or we're going to do it all on, you know, that's a tactic. The strategy says, but maybe they're not there. Maybe I need to reach them in a different way. I remember Scott Stratton once, when he was launching, I think it was Unmarketing, the very first book that he wrote, he had said something to the effect of, he was working with somebody in the industry who was still passing out demos on like VHS and cassette. And he's like, say what? Like, nobody does that. And he goes, oh yes, and in this particular musical niche, that's how the music was getting transferred and played. And the guy said to him, it's not my job to tell them how to consume it. It's my job to make sure that they do consume it. Right. And so for me, working with someone building their business model, it's like, we got to find the way that they're going to consume it that also works for you. Because if you hate blogging, you're not going to do it. Right? I don't care how many of your raving fans show up, you're not going to do it. So you're either going to have to find somebody else to do it for you, or you're going to have to find a different platform. And most of the people that I'm working with don't have money coming out of their nostrils and they can just spew it all over the place. So let's hire everybody to do all our stuff for us. So let's find the platform that works for them. Let's get them distributing their content appropriately for their platform. And let's get those people into their market so that we can sell to them. And that's how we build the business model.
Okay, so I've got one question then, or this is a wrap-up question. So if you can do this in 1 minute,
help me.
Give me 3 things that a creative will be able to do by working with you. What will some of their outcomes, 3 outcomes, main outcomes they will achieve by working with you?
They will have more confidence. They will have more clarity in terms of their market, their model, and how they're making money. And they're going to have more cash flow, period.
I love those 3 C's, 3 C's.
That's
One more time, yes.
That's right. So say it again. Confidence. Yes.
They're going to have more confidence, which is going to give them more clarity. And then they're going to have cash flow, more cash flow.
Love it.
You can't get any better than that. Yeah. Okay.
I did it in less than 30 seconds. Yeah.
Love it.
This is great. So, we're going to go into our last segment here. But I want we'll do this again. But I want to make sure that everyone says, thank you, Lisa. You definitely gave me another perspective. I learned I'm chaotic. I kind of knew it, but now I got another word for it.
Own it.
Right? So I'm going to take that test. I know how it's going to come out, but I gotta see that. So
I already pulled it up. I got it on my iPad here. Just wait for the show to end.
Okay. See what I mean, Lisa? See what I mean? I'm talking about it. He's doing it. Okay. That's how that works. He always does it.
That's funny.
I love it. And so definitely want to thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on and sharing. And I want to make sure that people connect with Lisa because they will get confidence, clarity, and cash flow Yeah, so they can make that happen. Give your website one more time, Lisa.
LisaRobinYoung.com. Robin has 2 B's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There it is, right
On the
there.
screen.
There it is. Okay, absolutely, absolutely. So before we close out, I want to one. I'm like super excited. We have partnered with the cell phone store, and as a extra special groovy gift that they're doing for us and our viewers, because we've got people that are here. I saw Dr. Cooper out there. You said Carlos. There's Sheila. You know, I feel like if I say romper room, I'm probably gonna really date myself. So I'll just say I'm just doing a roll call. I'll just say that, because if I say romper room, some of y'all will know what I'm talking about, and the other ones won't. But anyway, so yeah, so I want to be able to. This is a way to say thank you to you guys. And so what the cell phone store did, they said, hey, look, here is the deal. So if you are looking to up level your business, okay, the deal that they've put together is that when you go to the cell phone store, you can get selfie sticks, you can get a video media kit, and there's so many other devices for you that are getting involved in video. And I know you're getting involved with video because you're listening to the Monetize You show. And that is a part of one of the things that we help people do, make sure that they understand that video is a prominent part, a tool in their tool chest. So you will be able to get 15% off of whatever is in the store when you go to the cell phone store and choose some of their items to purchase. And then the other thing, as our recent partnership, what we decided to do, and we had mentioned this before, is we were going to give, there's a giveaway, which is a selfie stick, which you can see right there. Is that how you say it? Right there. No, it's the other way. Right there. Y'all can see it.
Your other left, yes, you got it.
You can see it. Whatever. You can see it. You can see it. It's backwards for me.
Just put up both your hands when you're in doubt.
Right. Yeah,
one of these lefts.
Yes, one of these. Yeah, you know, Tails point to one and that point to the other one, and that way we'll get it. So anyway, so we're gonna give away a selfie stick. And so I'm gonna get you in on this and probably let you choose the winner, because I think you were looking at Facebook. So because what we said was whoever is sharing and commenting and liking, that you would be in the running for the selfie stick. So do we?
Oh, you want me to pick one?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my bad. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, both Sheila and Carlos seem to be our top commenters. So, being Carlos said he's into live stream and so forth, I think maybe it might be good for Carlos. Okay. Sheila, what we'll do for you, I'll give you a backup gift. You can PM us, and we give you a free download of the Monetize Your Skills book. How about that?
Exactly. See, yeah. So that's the consolation prize, but your consolation is really a top prize at the end of the day. So, so great. So we got Carlos and Sheila are our winners for today. So make sure you, what you need to do is to send us your email, and I guess you can. I need to, because I know you may not want to blast it on the on the page there with your email. So what will
he can PM us. He can send us a private message.
Okay. Yes. Okay. PM us your email so that we can send it over to the cell phone store and
in Messenger. Yes, send us in Messenger.
In Messenger. Exactly, in Messenger. So we can send that over to the cell phone store, and you can get your selfie stick. And so yes. So with that, I think, Mr. Chance, this is your time in the light.
Okay, well, we are at the hour now. I want to just thank everyone for joining us today. You guys were awesome. Remember that the show notes will be at themonetizeyouShow.com, themonetizeyouShow.com. Always feel free to follow us right here on Facebook, the Monetize You Show, and Twitter by the same handle. We really, really love having experts on here to share with you all the strategies that they know so you can monetize your skills. You can be able to make a difference in this world. And that's truly what it's all about. So I want to also thank again Lisa for being on today's show. She shared some wonderful, wonderful stuff. Can't wait to take her quiz. I encourage you again, go at her website, LisaRobinYoung.com, and also take the quiz there. We always have tools and resources to help you guys out. And so you can always find Gail Turner Brown's course. She has a brand new course out, Get Known Faster. My course is also the Monetize Your Skills Academy. So right there on the screen, there's a link right there on the screen, Get Known Faster Workshop. This is for you if you are a creative, there you go, and you want to get known faster. That's the course that will help you to do it. Monetize Your Skills Academy is all about, yes, taking your education, expertise, and experiences, and we give you a framework to be able to monetize your skills to the six-figure level at least. And so that's the course that will be able to help you out. But we want to thank you guys. We appreciate it. We can't do it without you. Thank you for coming. Please share this, watch the replay, whatever you have to do. Okay, Gail, I'll let you say the parting words.
Okay, all right. And
that's
so,
it for me.
So in addition to that, so once again, also for me, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. There are some of you that show up every week. Really appreciate that, but love it even more if you spread the love. So spread it around. I used to tell people, look, if you got folks that owe you money, then they need to come and check out the show. And that way you can show them how they can pay you back, because we're going to show them how to monetize their skills. In addition to that, I want to always thank our man behind the curtain, Mr. Curtis L. Brooks from Curtis L. Brooks Media Production. He is what helps make this show what it is. He puts it all together and he makes the magic happen. Chance and I come on and we do our thing, but we got the man behind the curtain back there that is doing the gears. He is the wizard back there. So I always want to thank him, and to also let you know that if you're thinking of having a show, if you just want to start doing live streaming and you don't know where to start, then Curtis L. Brooks Media Production is the place to go. That's who you need to contact. Once again, that information is on our website, on our webpage, on our Facebook page. You can get that information there, as well as our website, which is the monetizeyourshow.com. And so with that, stay tuned next week. If you want to learn about Facebook ads and how to really make your business explode, then you definitely are not going to want to miss next week's show. So we're always here on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. And as Chance said, we are here for you. So with that being said, I want to say thank you again. I always close out the show by saying, if you can imagine it, you can monetize it. See you guys next week.